On this week's episode of Bolts and Hose Podcast, Kris and Bryce take us on an up-close and personal look at the manufacturing process of some specialty fasteners. They also talk about our 5-year anniversary party, and Paul joins us for another edition of the Mailbag. You can find all that and more on this week's episode of Bolts and Hose Podcast.
Bolts and hose, boats and hose. I gotta have me my boats and hose. Boats and hose, boats and hose. I gotta have me my...
Welcome everyone to Bolts and Hose, episode number 8.
Number 8.
Ocho.
8 is great.
So,
Wonderful date.
One of the more positive feedbacks that we've got is from our show and tell segment where we show parts, highlight parts. You know, typically in the past, Bryce has brought in some parts and we've just kind of looked at them and talked about them. I think some people have come back to us and said, hey, rather than just doing that, why don't you actually show us the process, walk us through the actual manufacturing process. So we've done that this week. We've gone through and placed some cameras strategically inside the machines and throughout the process as we're manufacturing it step by step. So we'll take you from the very beginning to the very end to show you how some of these are made. So we've got a couple of samples here. We've got one socket head cap screw out of 660B. We've got some load leveling washer sets as well, which is a really cool part. So we will jump into it.
Yeah, so we got, first we're going to start with the 660, right? That's the first video we're going to jump into. I think we've talked a little bit about 660 A286. It's 660B. Start out a round bar. It's an iron, nickel, chromium alloy. Mildly corrosion resistant. Does very well in heat. Holds its strength very well. So again, a very common bolting alloy, expensive, shiny, beautiful parts. So we'll jump into the video and show you how this baby is made.
Very good. Perfect. Let's do it. So here we have a 3-axis CNC Doosan. We've got some 660B solid round bar, and you can see we've started to turn down the body of this. So we're turning this down to be the major diameter of the thread is what the diameter that we're trying to go for here.
So you started with 1 inch bar.
1 inch bar.
And you're turning down to 5/8, 11.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So after we turn the body down, you can see that the turret spun around, loaded the threading insert, and that thread is being formed right now. So the thread's being cut, and there's multiple passes associated
How many
with that.
passes do you think?
That's probably 10 or 11 passes, I think. And then we've got a parting tool that comes in and creates a little teat on the back side of that you can break off.
Teat,
yes. So there is the semi-finished socket. So obviously we still have some work to do on the head to create that internal
with
hex.
no socket.
Yes.
Yet.
So we'll put it back in the same machine, just in the reverse. So the body that we just machined is inside the chuck now, and here we are doing the head work. So we drilled the solid side of the head. We've created a chamfer, and now we're going through the process. We're using a live tool operation to mill the flats on the inside of that hex.
So you start with a 1 inch round bar because the head diameter of a 5/8 socket is like 938, I think is the max. So they'll turn that down to the finished dimension.
So you can see the internal hex there. We've got a flat to flat and a point to point spec that we have to meet. And then we have the marking set up. On these, we're going to laser mark per the customer requirement.
Don't put your finger underneath the laser marker.
No.
Unless you want a cool tattoo.
So the next manufactured item we will jump into are the load leveling washers. What material is that, Bryce?
This is 4340 heat treated to a B23 class 3 specification. And this thing's heavy. 2-piece construction. You got a concave, slides right on there. If there's any misalignment, it will level itself out. Pretty slick design here. We make these actually quite a bit.
Yeah, these are made so if there's any misalignment of the flange, if there's any rotation or whatever, this will help distribute the load a little more evenly than, let's say, having a point load on one side than the other. So it's kind of interesting the way these are made. Obviously the radius, concave, convex, they match each other so that they slide effortlessly. But one of the other features of this, that lots of people don't realize, is that one ID is different than the other ID, and what that does is it allows for that misalignment, and you're not having to, it'll allow for the clearance for the bolt to be misaligned in there. So when it is misaligned, it'll allow for that greater diameter.
Pretty cool parts. Let's get in the video.
All right, we'll jump to it.
Here's an image of the raw material that we're starting with. This started out as solid round bar. We bored it in the center and then sent it out for heat treatment, and these are the slugs that we got back. So we've cut them to a specific length so we get the best yield out of the material. We get the most parts out of that one section. And then that is the finished component. You can see how we just start out with round bar. It's very simple. Then we machine ID, OD, and these surfaces on both sides of the washer. One being concave, one being convex. It's really nice looking parts.
We got my man Casey from Ingenious Brewery here with us today. He's going to talk about what's some events going on here at Ingenious this weekend.
Yeah, this Saturday we have Under the Sea Bash. We actually have a live action aerial that's going to come out and take photos from 2 to 6. We have a paint class from 3 to 5. She's almost sold out, so if you want to, maybe, or if you're interested in bringing you and your kids or to do something like that, go online to our social media, Instagram, Facebook. There's links to all that stuff on there.
Cool.
So check it out.
Did you say you have a mermaid?
Yeah, we have a mermaid that's going to come in, and she's got the suit and everything, and she's going to kind of hang out and take pictures. We have a bubble machine. I have a bubble gun.
Nice.
We're going to have water guns. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
A summer bash. I think that's why we're wearing leis, right?
Yeah, we've got the whole place decked out with leis. It's really nice, kind of a more immersive experience when you walk in, and that with the bubbles too, it's going to be a lot of fun.
So this is a very family friendly.
More family friendly than what we're used to doing. Yeah, we don't normally go this this hard on the family stuff, but occasionally I think it's nice to have an event for parents to maybe bring their kids out. The movie drops on Friday, the new live action Mermaid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. So that comes out Friday. So I was kind of thinking, bring the kids out, come hang out here, grab a few drinks, let the kids play around, do the pictures, and go check out the movie.
You gonna dress up as a merman?
I have a King Triton costume, yeah.
Nice.
I do.
I
tried it on last night.
Jason Momoa thing?
Yeah.
It's like Jason Momoa meets
with a trident?
Meets Triton, but with a beer belly, yeah.
Awesome. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate all your support.
It,
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, brother.
Come have a beer with Casey, man. There's good people here at Ingenious.
Yes, sir.
Well done.
Hey, Paul, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, guys. How's everything going over there?
Great to see you, Paulie.
It's good to see you. What's up with the necklace or the
We
lei?
got laid today. It's a summer theme here at Ingenious, so everyone gets laid if they come and have a beer.
Nice. Well, for you, it's a blessing, huh?
They're everywhere, man. They got them hanging from the ceilings.
Yeah, it's very nice. So they've got a lot of activities planned for this weekend, and they're getting ready for it. So this is all part of the theme. So who
That's
are we
awesome.
to not join in? Partake.
Dude, you got to partake. Dude, you got to partake for sure, for sure. You guys have a tan like you guys were like in Hawaii or something. I mean, that tan is really off the dome,
Well,
Nice-
it's still
nice
the
dome tan.
residuals left from Florida. So we're still there.
Don't lie. You've been going to the tanning bed.
Kris has the goggles and the Speedo, the paper Speedo.
Can you imagine him climbing into one of those tanning beds, Paul?
Hey,
Well, I've got
aren't we
pictures
passing
right here.
out? Hey, aren't we passing out those Patriot Bolt stamp paper Speedos? Isn't that one of
Yes.
our things?
Yes, it should be. Should
Yeah.
be. I like that.
If we're not
idea.
doing that yet, we should. But listen, look, it looks like you guys are on the celebration mode. Speaking of celebrations, let's talk about the 5-year anniversary party.
Yes, last Friday, man, it was a great turnout. I had a lot of really good customers show up. A couple bad customers. Just kidding. There's no such thing. But man, the crawfish, it was some of the best crawfish I've ever eaten. Had a
Nice.
great dude. His name's JB. He came and played on the stage and played some
We got some footage of that we'll show, just pictures. You know, it was not just customers. All the employees came, all the guys from the shop. Most of them brought their wives, and kids, and families, and you know, we had cornhole boards out there. And, it was nice. It was very nice. Live music.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yep. Really
People probably think why I wasn't invited. They're like, why didn't Paul go? I actually had my daughter's dance performance that night, so I would have been there, but unfortunately I couldn't make it. Actually, Kris and Bryce don't allow me to go to these events. It's
And you're allergic to crawfish, is that right, Paul?
Yeah, I'm allergic to crawfish. No.
Beer. I'm telling you, it was some of the best crawfish I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
It was fantastic.
It was really good.
Really good. I think we even had some Louisiana guys over here, and they gave it a thumbs up.
Yeah. And Kris bought I think he bought 20 cases of seltzer. So if anyone needs any seltzer, come to our shop and we have plenty left over because nobody drinks.
It's not because we didn't try to knock it out. It's just we just bought that much. So.
Wow. Answer me this. So was there anything unexpected that happened that like a positive thing that came out of the event or the celebration, or just something that, wow, like that was cool. That happened. I didn't expect that. Anything?
You know, I don't know if it was unexpected, but we did get to show up the shop. I mean, the shop was in great shape. We had some cool parts out running. So I thought it was a really cool thing that customers got to see it in action. They got to tour the shop. So normally we just tell them what we do, right? And they're like, oh, I'll get up there when I get up there. But if you entice them with crawfish and beer, they actually come up. And so they got to see the shop, which is really cool. It opens their eyes. I think it, gets their wheels spinning on what else we can help them out with. So I think that was the most beneficial part to it.
Yeah. And probably a lot of our customers don't realize that, Patriot Bolt actually moved to a new location, which is in the same complex. But we outgrew the first space like within months. And you guys, so like our new space now is, it's fairly large, but we're almost at capacity already, right? There's so many machines and.
Yeah, as far as capacity, as far as space, but certainly the machines that are in there, it's a good size for where we're at right now. So we've got, when you look at the number of machines and the capacity that we've got, even the size capability in each one of the machines, it's one of the more capable fastener houses out there. It really is. So it may not be the largest, but certainly it's very concentrated, and we have investments in the right places.
And best looking.
Absolutely.
And we're
next to a brewery.
The best looking salesman of fasteners out there. Yeah.
And we get to drink blue beer.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, on the topic of growth, we actually got. Well, I don't know if you guys want to get into mailbag. Bryce, you want to hit it?
Mailbag.
All right, it's official. So we actually got a letter that came in, hard snail mail. So I want to give a shout out to. This one comes in from Toothless Spider Monkey. Wrote. Yeah, we got great fans, guys. Let's not deny that. Man. We got great fans. I can only imagine what our fans look like. I'm sure they're beautiful people. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. Beautiful.
Anyhow, no. On the topic of growth, so they actually had a question. What do you guys do when companies come in to audit you? And I think this past week we've had some really nice audits that came in from different companies that are looking at the shop, kind of looking at capabilities, looking at the tooling machines we have. Like, what's that process like? And how did it go?
Yeah, here in the last few months, we've gotten actually added to an AML. So that was a couple intense audits we went through. We've had some other good customers come through and audit. Next, I think in 2 weeks, we got another customer coming in audit that just gave us a pretty nice order.
We've got an ISO renewal that's coming up in a few months too. So, we kind of stay prepared for that, Paul. There's not a whole lot that we do. Of course, we go in and tidy things up and make sure, there aren't any holes or kinks in the system. But, when it comes to calibration of equipment, when it comes to, documented processes for traceability on raw material, non-conforming area. There are the basic, 10 points on the checklist that you go through and make sure they're shored up. But I think our guys and our staff do a really good job of keeping that up. And rather than just, dusting it off once a year, because of the frequency of those audits and customers coming to visit like they do, I think we have to stay on top of our game constantly.
We have some customers that come in and they want to witness like some certain processes, certain testing, dimensional reports that we do once we pull parts off the machine. So yeah, our guys are very used to the audit process.
When it comes to calibration of tools, when it comes to calibration of the ovens or the hardness testers, all of that stuff is kind of on an automated schedule too. So the people that are doing those calibrations will be external from us, and they're on a set schedule. So they come in and do those and keep us topped off. So it's not something we have to think about.
That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. Well, it speaks volumes of really, I mean, it kind of goes to show like why and how we've been growing so fast, right? Like it's really, the shop is clean, moving, is like a fast oiled machine. It's been fantastic. I mean, I've seen the growth and I've seen how fast you guys have grown. How we've grown. It's just phenomenal, to be honest.
Yeah. And the podcast too, I mean, we went from 0 to, I think we have 4 followers now in the podcast.
I think we're like I think we just hit like the 300,000 follower mark. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my YouTube. I'm waiting for my YouTube silver button to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 400% increase though, Bryce, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
we're on.
Yeah. To all you 3 listeners out there, we love you.
Yes.
We don't want to lose you on this one.
We love you. We can't afford to lose you now.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose you. Speaking of our loyal listener, we've got another mailbag question from the guy. And the guy actually has a really good question. Let me, if I can find it. Let's see.
The guy is very engaged in this, and
the guy is definitely engaged.
I'm trying to get the guy to come on so he can speak live on one of our mailbags, because that would be kind of cool. We get these snail mails, we get emails, we get social media comments.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to have someone to come on live and ask us the question. So
for sure,
we threw that offer out there. He's been pretty busy though, but I think that it's probably going to happen in the next few weeks. Hopefully,
it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. All right, so here it goes. The question is, and it kind of goes. I mean, it's right in line with the whole auditing process of the shop, which is, what is Patriot Bolt's secret to knowing when to change out cutting inserts or cutting tools? I lost my spot, guys. Cutting inserts or cutting tools to make sure that you're always making great cuts in your parts. And then he says, is it based solely on operator judgment or experience, or do you have something in place that predetermines, an insert life cycle and forces a swap out after so many parts per hour, etc.? What's your answer to that?
So I'll take that one, Bryce.
It's a good idea.
There's a lot of variables that go into this, depending on which material you're cutting. I think you can start with that, right? If you're cutting a softer carbon steel or something, the insert is going to last a lot longer than, let's say, you're cutting a 718 or some MP35N, some hard material.
Right.
So inserts, you're going to have to change those out more frequently. I think that's probably much more of an issue when you're dealing with part runs of larger quantities than what we deal with. Most of our stuff are, I'd say probably less than 50 pieces by far, so, and most of the time, much less than that. So we're very much a job shop, in which case we're doing setups and teardowns very frequently. So the guys are very in tune to checking that almost every part, I'd say, every single part. They're looking at things like the dimensional requirements from the drawing of the print that they're working off of. And then they're also just looking at surface finish, just visual inspections. It's not as if you're running high production runs where you're not watching it but once every 50 parts or something.
Yeah.
Every single part is scrutinized and looked at very closely. So it's not something that I think is a major issue, particularly for us in the way we run. But having said that, I'd say the control that surrounds that is that the operator is paying very close attention to dimensions and surface finish on every single part. And there's really nothing that slips by when you're doing it that way.
It's a very hands-on operation. Like I've seen them doing everything. I mean, seriously, they're watching the parts being made. It's definitely a very manual process.
There's a lot of guys too, Paul, that comes from a background of like aerospace fasteners. So a lot of these guys that are in the in the shop out here. A lot of our stuff going to oil and gas, and the tolerances aren't as critical, let's say, an aerospace type fastener. So their level of sensitivity to that is extremely high. So they're very accustomed to looking at every part, scrutinizing it almost to a greater extent than what is required by a lot of our customers. So I feel really good that the guys understand those concepts really well, and they enforce it on a regular basis.
Right on, right on. Well, actually, the guy has a part two of the question. So
that's a very technical question too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, the guy. So firemen are very important people in our society. They save lives. They save cats. Now, firemen have an incredible reputation for an annual calendar. Have you heard of this? You've seen the fireman calendar.
I have seen this. Yes, of course. Yeah,
right.
I've got a few of them on my wall right now.
So they have a call of duty. Well, Patriot Bolt as well has a call of duty. We might not be saving people's lives or cats, but we're probably saving some people's business. And in that, the guy is asking, when can we expect the annual Patriot Bolt inaugural monthly calendar featuring 12 great shots of some really impressive nuts, shafts, shanks, and hoses hung on our wall? They want to know. They want to know.
Fortunately, Guy, we've been working on this. We've been making some very impressive nuts in our shop. We've been doing a lot of different trade shows and golf events, and some of you may have seen some of the outfits that we've been wearing to these. So we have a good collection of outfits with impressive nuts, studs, shanks.
Yeah. But you've seen the guys that pose shirtless. I mean, maybe they have some suspenders, but they're on the front of a fire truck or something,
Right.
I think Bryce holding a big stud and a couple of nuts on a CNC, like leaning up against the CNC. I can see this.
Yeah.
So
it will happen.
I mean, as we're talking about this, I can visualize this. I think we can make this happen.
2024.
Pretty easily.
Get ready.
And it's not just me and Bryce. I think we got some guys in the shop with some good physiques.
Yeah. We get Shawnee out there and
Alex. Yeah.
We
and
can
Christian.
do it.
It's going to happen. We can definitely. I see Christian with
I
this
really
shirt on.
love the question because it's really putting our feet to the fire, and I love
Even
this.
you, Paul. Even you could maybe
Of course,
put on an ensemble.
if I can be Mr. September, we're on.
Just
You know what? I'm
like
gonna get
you in a Speedo with some Crocs.
And I'm going to make you some nut glasses. So you're going to have nuts
And
instead of glasses.
in the paper Speedos with the Patriot Bolt, that'd be great.
Yes.
I was just thinking before you started in this line of questioning, Paul, that I was thinking to myself, were we seriously going to get through a session of the mailbag without some nut innuendo? And
Probably not.
Yeah.
Never.
Just
It's not even us. It's our fans.
that's true. Okay. True.
You can't manufacture bolts and nuts and not talk about nuts. I mean, it's true. It's a big part of our business.
Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. All right. Last question.
Okay. Bring
All
it
right.
on.
So this comes from Hard Hat Softy. So Hard Hat Softy says, "You two gentlemen look like some manly men. Do you guys hunt?
Do we hunt?
Do you hunt?"
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
In reference to, we got a trip coming up next month, I think.
Yeah.
Talk about it. What's this about?
We got the Patriot Ranch.
So we have a ranch that the company operates over in West Texas. It's in a little place called Concan. It's a great little spot with, lots of wildlife there. Deer, axis, aoudad, pig, all that. Yeah. So we've got a trip coming up with some valuable customers as well. So we've got just a weekend trip over there, a short trip. And then we'll go over there and have some fun.
Dude,
He's a hunter. I'm not a big hunter. I just like to drink and watch people shoot things. I'll probably shoot a little bit, but
That's pretty much what we do as well. We get favor.
It sounds
say
like
we're
the
gonna get-
perfect place for probably Mr. June or July. of the calendar. Some guns.
The big AK strapped across your chest. Handful of nuts.
That is. Well, guys, that's the mailbag.
Well done, Paulie.
All right, guys.
Excellent.
So all you fans, keep the mail coming. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Pass this video on to your friends. Give them a laugh. Like our video. And I mean it. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. If you have any questions, sales@patriotbolt.com. We want to read your questions out. And we'll give you a shout out if you send it. So
yeah, for sure. And we have some cool guests coming up soon. I think we have a couple guests booked. Still have some openings if you're interested in coming on. So we'd like to talk about help promote your business, your product, whatever you're doing in the industry. We're here to just talk shop and
talk nuts,
networking event, all the above.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for joining us, my man. Great job.
Till next time.
Signing off, brother.
See you, my man. Have a good day.
Peace. Take care.
Adios.
Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me my boats and hoes. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me.